That's okay. Just let me know.
You know what I was wondering about when I went through this stuff?
Okay, I would like to call the October 16th Board of Selectmen's meeting to order. Do we have any need for non-public?
Madam Chairperson, we do RSA 91A3, Roman numeral 2, lowercase b, hiring, and lowercase l, consideration of legal advice.
Okay. Board, I've had a request that we move the Heritage Commission letter to the beginning of the meeting. Dave Boldock is here. He has something at 7 o'clock up at the high school, and I was wondering whether the board would be willing to move that to this time.
No objection? No objection.
I'm good.
Okay, come on up. We'll go out of order, and we'll get your letter, and if you're welcome.
I think everybody has a copy of the letter.
Yes.
Have you read it, or should I read it for you, or?
Well, if you want the public to hear, you need to read it to us.
Most definitely, okay.
Yeah.
So, dear Select Board, the Heritage Commission is a town-appointed and composed of citizens who advise the town in protecting, preserving, and promoting cultural and historical resources townwide. This letter concerns the hiring of a new town planning director. It is submitted to the Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen by the Town Heritage Commission with unanimous support of its 8 citizen members, not including Brian, who's our representative. HC members request that the BoS take into account the new town planner's experience with historic resources when making a selection. A good towner plays a key role in helping a community decide the best way to use land and buildings in planning for the town's future. And the sensitivity to the value of historic structures and appreciates the positive cultural and economic impact they provide to our community. We hope that the candidate chosen will have a successful experience with interorganizational coordination and cooperation. The planner should be proactive in involving the HC in matters that involve the town historic resources. Respectfully submitted, Wolfeboro Heritage Commission, Dave Bolduc Chair, Catherine Dragonfly, Andrea Dudley, Vaughn Dugan, Ginger Hankins, Maggie Steer, Howard Lowe, and Mark Lush. So we understand that you guys have a very difficult task before you with the labor market the way it is, and the available candidates, I'm sure. It's not a position that I envy you being into, but while reviewing their applications and interviewing the candidates, we would hope that maybe you could get a sense of their sensitivities regarding protecting Wolfeboro's just terrific architectural history and structures. I think it's just key, and it's what so many visitors and as well as citizens value of this town, is it still has its character. It hasn't become a weird speech. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on. We have consideration of the minutes, first of the 18th. And I have one correction on the first page, and it's talking about the need to go into non-public session. She has a question mark. It should be lowercase a and lowercase c. That's what we went into, and it's right after our list of names. Does anybody else have any corrections or changes?
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
I have a few.
Yep.
Page 1,
Yep.
last paragraph attribution to me. There's a, it was determined, so it's out there without a, so let's strike it. I'm sure I said other things, so, but it was determined doesn't go anywhere. The next sentence, this helped connect Warren Sands Road, Bickford, not Chicken Bickford, So if we could moderate those. Let's jump over to page 5. Up at the top, just down before the end, it says, we need to, O'Brien, we need to address what management action is taken when costs exceed revenues. It's flipped over when revenues exceed costs, so we need to strike in that and then flip over costs exceed revenues. And I believe, Madam Chairman, I'm good with the rest of it, so thank you.
Does anybody else have any corrections? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
Move as amended to accept the 18
Okay.
September minutes.
Okay, so I have Paul who's making the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have Brian second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed? Okay. Next one is September 27th, 2024. Any questions, concerns, corrections?
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Okay, have a motion by Brad, second by Brian. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Abstain, I was absent.
Okay. Next one is the September 30th, 2024. Anybody have any corrections? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
Move we approve the September 30th minutes.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion by Dave, second by Brad. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
October 2nd. This is a budget hearing meeting. Does anybody have any corrections? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
Move to accept the October 2nd, 2024 budget meeting minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Brian, second by Paul. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. All righty. Okay, now we have the minutes of the Board of Selectmen's meeting for October 2nd. Does anybody have any corrections? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
Move to approve the Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024 Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Brian, second by Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, we have now the October 3rd. This is again a budget hearing. Does anybody have any questions or concerns? Any changes?
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Brad, second by Brian. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, I'll open up the first public hearing. In accordance with RSA 41:14-A, the Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen will hold public hearings on October 16th, 2024, and October 30th, 2024, to solicit comments regarding the town selling of the following property acquired or purchased by the town as identified as Tax Map 161, Lot 11, Pine Hill Road. A vote will take place no sooner than 7 days nor later than 14 days after the second public hearing is held. It was posted on the town website on October 3rd, 2024, and it was in the Granite State News, the October 10th, 2024 edition. Jim, do you want to make any comments about this?
Sure. So this is a piece of property that, while we were performing the deed research for the tax sale, it was discovered that this actual piece of property was not taken by a tax deeding process. It was actually a piece of property that the town bought, I believe it was in the 30s. As a result of that, the only way that we can go forward with the sale of the property is by holding these public hearings and the Board of Selectmen making the determination to sell the property as a result.
Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to speak to this public hearing, this sale? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Board members, anybody have any questions, concerns, comments? Hearing none, we will move on. The next item on the agenda is another set of public hearings. These are going to be temporary event public hearings, and I'll read the first one. The Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, October 16th, 2024, at 6:30 p.m. to consider a temporary event permit application for the Wolfeboro Lions Club to hold trick-or-treat on October 31st, 2024, at the Clark Park from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., permit 2024-56. And okay, I'm opening the public hearing. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to speak to this?
I'm Louise Horskin, president of the Wolfeboro Historical Society, and Gina cannot be here today, so we are in contact, and she wanted to know where she can be located so that we will have a safe and fun flow of the kids. And Mr. Pinio had a good idea.
So one of the things that I'm suggesting, if you look at the map, they've identified an X in between the area of Goodrich, Clark Road, and East Clark Road. I would suggest that we consider moving that as close to the pavement as we possibly can for the parking lot of the Clark complex. And then I would also suggest that the Board of Selectmen, where there's 3 entities holding events in this area over Halloween, that you consider actually blocking the parking lot off for vehicular traffic.
Okay. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak to this public hearing? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Board members, I think it's a good idea that we block that parking lot off and move them closer, and it'll be a nice flow. We won't have to worry about the kids walking through there and cars backing up.
I agree, but I look at this, and now our application is incomplete, because it should have been mentioned to them before that they should have checked off parking lot closure plan, and that we should have that on it. I'm okay with approving it, I guess, this time, based on amending it for the parking lot closure plan. However, it would be nice if next time we knew this in advance.
But they're not suggesting, it's the town manager suggesting it
Correct.
today.
I'll second Brian's motion.
Well, can we have a statement of the motion? I didn't. He approved. We should read it.
Yeah. So move to approve a temporary event permit for Wolfeboro Lions Club to host a trick-or-treat on October 31st, 2024 at Clark Park from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. With the Board of Selectmen closing off a section of the parking lot for safety, permit number 2024-56.
Second.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. I do have, I have a motion by Brian, a second by Paul. I think we were talking about closing off the whole parking lot,
Right? That's what I
right?
was
So
gonna say.
we're just going to change it from part to all. Is everybody comfortable with that? Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All righty. And Gina had sent that to me, so thank you for doing it. I'd like to open the next public hearing is the Wolfeboro Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, October 16, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. to consider a temporary event application, and I believe this is the Rotary Club to host Trick or Treat on October 31st, 2024 at Kate Park from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., permit number 2024-57.
No, the Rotary Club is the Christmas tree sale. This is the Kingswood Youth Center.
Kings Youth Center.
KYC.
And they don't have a map included.
Okay, all right, I had gotten something, okay, it's the other one. But, all right, it was the wrong one. This is the Rotary. Okay, this is I'll reread it. Okay, I had the wrong one. It will be the Historical Society to host nope, back, got to go up one more. The Kingswood Youth Center to hold Trick or Treat on October 31st, 2004 at Clark Park from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., permit 2024-57.
Good evening. I'm Zachary Porter. I'm the Executive Director of the Kingswood Youth Center. Thank you for hearing our request for a temporary event permit. We've done this for a number of years, and it's been very successful, participating in the town's trick-or-treat night. And in doing so, we have two aims. One is to add to the festivities of the evening. The other is to provide a safe and supervised opportunity for our high school and middle school students here in this community to enjoy Halloween in a safe and productive way. And I'll say again, it's been really successful. We are flexible in terms of location, whatever works for the town, and also the other two entities who we're excited to share the evening with. I did drop off a map yesterday with Amy Capone on yellow paper, so I can certainly I can follow up with her in that regard and make sure that gets to you.
Anybody else in the audience who'd like to speak to this temporary event permit? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Board members?
So can we as a board create a map, locate the three different organizations by name on it, and have Amy get them each a map so that they know in advance where they're going to be and it'll be easier?
I thought that the one Gina, the one from the Lions Club, had a map, and on that, we could have her put on where in the road.
Yeah.
I was looking at this one that we
Yeah, the
just closed.
Historical Society has one too.
Well, you can choose which one. Here's another one. So I don't care which one it is,
Okay.
but we want them on that, they usually are on Clark Road, not on East Clark Road. Am I correct? Yeah, so, and they usually just park somewheres on the park side. Am I correct? That's where you've been?
Yes, you're correct. That's what we've done, and it seems it's gone very well and hasn't seemed to be intrusive of anything else going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, board members, what would you like to do here?
I would like to approve a temporary event permit for the Kingswood Youth Center to hold a trick-or-treat on October 31st, 2024 at Clark Park from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. For Amy to forward the map to the board and for the board to make sure that it's located on the map accordingly. Permit number 2024-57.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Brian, second by Dave. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All right, let's see if we can get to the next one. I'll open up a public hearing. The Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, October 16th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. to consider a temporary event permit application for the Historical Society to hold Trick or Treat on October 31st, 2024 at Kate Park from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., permit number 2024-59.
Hi, Libby Shannon, Wolfeboro Historical Society, and this is my best friend Louise, also from the Wolfeboro Historical Society. So this is our 5th year. We will be holding this event at Clark Museum. We do hold the event inside of the actual museum complex within the gated area. And we just hand out candy. We don't have any games or anything and move them through pretty quickly. And we're happy to have others, and we'll work with them so we have a flow of the kids and we can all supervise together. And we'll be responsible for the takedown and removal of all the trash. And when we run out of candy, we're done. So there's plenty.
It could go fast if I'm there.
Okay. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to speak to this temporary event permit? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Board members.
Move to approve a temporary event permit for the Historical Society to host Trick or Treat on October 31st, 2024 at Clark Park from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock p.m., permit number 2024-59.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Brian, second by Paul. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. All righty. I'll open up the next public hearing. The Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, October 16, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. to consider a temporary event permit application, and this is the one that should say the Rotary, and to host a Christmas tree sale fundraiser at Clark Museum on November 29, 2024 to December 16, 2024, Thursday through Sunday, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m., permit 2024-58.
Good evening, Zachary Porter. I'm the president of the Rotary Club of Wolfeboro. That is correct. I think I turned in the two applications at the same time, and the youth center's name went on both, but the Christmas tree sale is in fact the Wolfeboro Rotary Club's request. We're really proud to offer this event and be requesting to do it again. We really feel like our community members eagerly anticipate the event. We want to sell fresh native New Hampshire Christmas trees at Clark House Museum once again. All 100% of profits go to charity, and each year we raise considerable funds that go right back to local scholarships for seniors graduating from Kingswood, as well as nonprofit causes. We've been in touch with the Historical Society. They've been kind in agreeing to share their space again, which is imperative to the success of the event. We do typically have a small wood fire during the event for warmth and ambiance. We did indicate on the application we'd like to do so again. And I understand the Chief Zadi, he did sign off on the permit, and I am still awaiting him just to close the loop on a state fire permit. Of course, the event is over a month away, so we have time for that, but we fully understand that a fire is, of course, pending a valid fire permit. And if you don't have a map for this event either, I turned those in after the fact to Amy, so I can certainly follow up at the same time as the Youth Center one. I can certainly follow up with her in that regard, and I'm happy to take any questions about our Christmas tree sale.
Okay. Anybody in the audience like to speak to this temporary event? All right, here we got somebody, finally.
Noticing the dates. So November 29th is a Friday, and then December 16th is a Monday, and it says Thursday through Sunday. So I think that there's just a little something wrong. The dates, I'm not sure when the dates are for this function. Is it from November 29th, which is Friday, to December 16th, which is a Monday, or are the dates incorrect?
I think what they are, Casey, is that during those weeks there, they're open from Thursday through Sundays.
Got it.
Is when they sell the trees. Is that right, Zach?
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That was my assumption, too.
Thanks, Casey.
Zach, you did fill it out perfectly. Rotary Club, right on there. Thank you for getting the map, and someone should have told you in advance that a map needed to come in with this. So again, that's not on you, that's on us. And I'd like to make a motion to accept the temporary event permit for the Rotary Club to host a Christmas tree sale fundraiser at Clark Museum from November 29, 2024 to December 16, 2024. They are open on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday during that period from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Permit number 2024-58.
And I'd like to have added on to that they make sure they get a fire permit, follow through with whatever that is for that.
State fire permit.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Brad. All right, so I have a motion by Brian, a second by Brad. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Okay.
He's a good guy.
We have another public hearing. This is for unanticipated funds. The town of Wolfeboro to hold a public hearing on Wednesday, October 16th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. for the acceptance of unanticipated funds in an amount more than $10,000 in accordance with RSA 31:95B3A to accept an amount of a New Hampshire Department of Safety for Wolfeboro Highway Safety Grant in the amount of $10,700 for the fiscal year 2024. Do I have anybody who'd like to speak to this on these funds? I think what it does, it kind of allows the public to know what the money is going to be used for.
Certainly. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a statewide, I guess, grant opportunity for towns and cities where the New Hampshire Highway Safety comes up with different programs throughout the year. They could be click it or ticket, they could be distracted driver, they could be DWI patrols, speeding patrols, this sorts of things. It allows the state to move money from the state coffers to each of the town police departments in order to enforce a specific violation that the state, in its view, needs special attention and enforcement at no cost to the town. What this does, as we fulfill this process, we have to do the grant paperwork, send it into the state at a quarterly rate, and the state then reimburses the town for the expenditures. It shows in our budget, but it will only come in as we request it during the year.
Okay.
Is that clear?
Yeah, all that budget stuff.
There's a 25% match. Is that what we have to do?
It's 100%. We put in the bill and they pay us back.
It's all the state fund. There's no town
It's highway
funds.
safety funding.
There's no match by the town.
Just because I see Exhibit C and it says OHS Grant Award, and it says under speed enforcement, federal budget, $1,600, minimum match required $400.
We get 100% back from the state on this particular grant.
Okay.
It's always been the way it's worked for me anyway.
Okay.
We put it in, and we can't do other functions during that period of time. It's like 4 hours or a 2-hour process where that's all the officer is able to do. So they are in addition to the regular patrol officer that's responding to calls and that type of
So it really puts some extra officers on the road doing
Yeah, that would be
specific.
an additional or a special detail.
Okay.
And that's all they're allowed to focus on.
Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to speak to this hearing? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Board members, any other comments? Can I have a motion?
I move to authorize the town manager to sign the grant application and accept the unanticipated funds in the amount of a New Hampshire Department of Safety for Wolfeboro Highway Safety Grant in the amount of $10,700 for fiscal year 2024.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Paul, second by Dave. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, one more public hearing. I'll open up the public hearing. The Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, October 16, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at the Great Hall, Town Hall, 84 South Main Street, Wolfeboro, New Hampshire, for the acceptance of unanticipated funds for an amount donated that is less than $10,000 in accordance with RSA 31:95B3A related to donations from local business sponsoring the Employees Appreciation Event. Downtown Grill, Peter and Lena Ford, the Mailboat, Blue Ghost 3, Isaac McKenzie, Back Bay Boathouse, and Black's Paper Store. Do I have anybody in the audience who'd like to speak to this public hearing? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Board members? Anybody want to make a motion?
Not on this one.
All right,
Yeah.
you got it?
Yeah, I'll make a motion for the board to accept a grant. Let's see, where am I here? Which is less than $10,000 in accordance with RSA 31:95-B3A relative to donations from local business sponsoring the Town Employees Appreciation Day event.
Second.
Okay, so I've Brad, was that you, Dave?
Second.
Yep. Okay, I have a motion by Brad, second by Dave. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We'll move on. Next item on the agenda is the bulk vote. Weekly manifest is $1,059,680.53. That was for October 4th. For October 11th, it was $751,069.38. Intent to cut, we have one. Current use application update, we have one, and we have one raffle ticket. Do I have any comments or concerns about that? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
Move we approve the bulk vote A through D.
Okay, I have a motion by Dave, a second by Paul. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Let's get. The first item under new business is New Hampshire Boat Museum request to borrow the Libby collection items.
So you received some correspondence from the New Hampshire Boat Museum regarding wanting to put a couple of artifacts from the Libby Museum in the Boat Museum. The director of the Libby Museum has some concerns about moving the dugout canoe to the Boat Museum. However, she does feel that the other canoe may be an option for the board to consider loaning out. She does have some concerns about it, but at the end of the process, I think it is your discretion as to what you want to do. You have her recommendations in front of you, and I would suggest that we not loan out the dugout canoe.
That she doesn't do the one dugout canoe, but we still have one underneath it, am I correct? So
Correct.
there are two canoes, and so the
Correct.
question is the second canoe. Board members? Anybody else? I'm comfortable with loaning the second canoe, and if there are any, artifacts that that Lena feels could be lent, I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, I'd be good with that, too.
Is that a motion?
Sure, Dave.
Second.
I'll second that motion on the second canoe.
All right, so I made the motion, and it's seconded by Dave. Is there any further discussion?
I read somewhere that She had said who was going to be moving it, but I can't see right in front of me. So who would be moving that canoe?
My understanding, it's the New Hampshire Boat Museum who has equipment to move boats, and that they were the ones who were going to move it.
They were going to be the ones moving it, that's my understanding.
Yeah, from reading, yeah.
And should it be done with the watchful eyes of somebody from our town?
Like the director of the museum?
I would assume that that would go through her at this point,
Right.
once we approve it, that we approve it and we can put it in, add to the motion that it is under the direction of the curator of the Libby Museum. Does that do
Yeah.
it for you?
Yeah, because we can't make another one.
Yeah, yeah, but we'll have one still in the museum, it's only the one underneath.
But it's
I'll
also-
add that to
It's also hard to
my,
imagine that they just walk in and take it.
yeah, I'll add that to my motion.
Thank you.
You all right with the
fine.
second? Any other discussions?
Nope.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the actual versus budget September from our finance director. I've got a different order here. It's, these two have different orders.
Yeah, they do.
And I'm going with the one, the regular agenda.
Sorry, Kathy.
Numbers are off.
Jumped in front
I'm using two tonight, so I'm getting a little, hopefully I stay on track. Okay.
Good evening, Catherine Carpentier, Finance Director. I'm here before you to go over the monthly September actuals. Through September, we're 9 months or 75% through the budget year. The general fund operating budget is at 79%, the water fund is at 76%, electric fund is at 77%, sewer fund is at 90%, and Pop Whalen is at 92%. The revenues for those funds, general fund is at 56%, still hovering low because the second tax bill hasn't gone out. The water fund is at 72%. The electric is at 69%, sewer fund is at 73%, and Pop Whalen is at 62%. The town tax collector is getting caught up, and we're probably a little, like 3 to 4 weeks still behind on the utility bills, but she believes we'll be caught up by the end of the year. I also gave you the donations, the capital reserve fund planning document, and gas and diesel allocation. I have not been told of any issues or concerns with anybody's budgets from the department heads, so we close 9 months of the year out strong at this point. Are there any questions? Okay.
No, we're quiet tonight. So, I have, depending upon which agenda I look at here, folks, I have the next item on the agenda is the Pop Whalen operating report.
Okay.
And we'll,
So I'm going to take that one. You have in front of you, which was
Thank you,
finalized
Casey.
today,
She's coming back.
the Pop Whalen Ice and Art Center report. This report covers the utilization. It also covers the MuniSmart revenue report through the end of September. Projections right now, based on the ice time which has been booked through the remainder of the year, the advertising which we have invoiced, and the revenues from January through September, we anticipate the Pop Whalen revenues to fall $27,953 short. With that said, a couple of the areas of shortfall are advertising was projected to be at $55,000. We've sent out $34,000 worth of invoices for advertising. We are hopeful that we will be able to increase some utilization by getting some other events into the facility. Additionally, as Casey stated, the operating budget, however, is at 92% utilized. So we do have some struggles here that we're trying to get a handle on. You have the backup report, which outlines the revenues from Unismart and then the utilization from the arena. The arena did open on time, September 22nd, and that is the bulk of what I can speak to regarding the arena at this point. I'll try to answer any questions that you do have.
I think it very clearly shows that we have to get a handle on our spring, summer, and fall program, that is, and our rental of space. And I also feel that with the revenue, we probably need to look at raising rates. And I'm hoping that this comes to us in November.
So Casey and I actually had a brief conversation about that today, and we have a follow-up scheduled next Wednesday to discuss the rates and bringing forward a proposal.
Okay. Board members, anybody else have any comments, concerns?
We had an ad hoc ambulance committee meeting there Tuesday. We do every Tuesday at 3 o'clock, and I believe it was a public ice skate time, and the ice was clear and empty. So we have to think of a way to utilize our ice and not be paying for ice time that is just vacant. Find someone who's going to pay to use the ice to help supplement our revenue on the facility.
I was there for a Wolfeboro Waters meeting, and I was told that at 10 o'clock there are about 12 to 15 men who come in every day to play hockey. So it is use some of, we are getting some use of that time that you're talking about, Brian.
Yeah, I would like it. I don't know how we can do it, but I'd like us to chart what hours are used more frequently for town public skate. And it should be something that we can do. Shouldn't be that difficult, so that we know which hours are utilized the most, which aren't, and maybe we can do something with our unutilized ice time.
Okay. Any other board members have any? Paul?
So I'm going to, even though, Jim, I had a lot of sugar, I'm not going to launch. I agree with you, Linda. The big miss on the revenue is the thing that we promised everybody we'd do, which was the spring, summer, fall programs. $318 year to date on a plan of $20,000. So that's a big miss. And the way this enterprise fund works is that goes right to the bottom line because the expenses get burned. So that's part one. Part two is what Casey shared with us, which is we're 92% spent. So I'm not going to get all exercised until we're at 100%, and then my question is going to be the same question I asked last month, which is, what are we going to do about that? And it sounds like there's some hope that maybe rather than just say, well, it is what it is, there's some hope that maybe we're going to have a revenue-raising party and look at rates, fees, which I'm sure will engender some commentary by people. So more to come, but it's good that we're looking at pulling different levers, but this whole summer program thing to me is just troublesome. We've just got to figure out a way to get our heads around that and fix it.
Yeah, and I have a question on whether we want to do one set rate instead of having a mixed rate, one rate at one time and another rate at another.
Yeah.
It would be another thing I would like to have looked at.
So on the sheet that you were just given with the hours of utilization, it does say off-season events, so there have been some off-season events, about 30 hours worth, which is not very high, but we do believe that some of that revenue is in the winter, so
Yeah.
It was misclassified.
Well, we had them in pickleball drop-in, and that looks like it looks like there were a bunch of hours used, but the revenue was minor, so it doesn't look like anything. So we need to take kind of a look at the whole.
Yes, the Parks and Rec director believed that it was all going into the winter programs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that pickleball.
But is it material?
No. It's in
We have not analyzed it at this point. We hope to have better numbers for you next month.
It'd be great if it was like $20,000, but
Okay. Any other question about the Pop Whalen? All right, now I think we go back, and I think
what
it's...
agenda are you on?
Well, I think it's C on one, and it's E on the other, okay?
Is this the Kathy Barnard section?
No, we're going to go on to, maybe I missed that one. I think I did. Oh, one agenda I don't think has it on. Oh, isn't that interesting?
Kathy, come on now.
All righty, I have to
bust
go
in.
back this one.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was thinking I would do.
You want to do your E real quick?
Yeah, that's where I was heading.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I got an E. It's on the second page. Go ahead.
It's
So
not
if
on
you,
here.
the appointed treasurer and deputy treasurer is what I'm here to speak on.
Yep.
In 2021, on the ballot, we had a warrant article to transition to an appointed treasurer. Carl Baggy has been the current appointed treasurer for the last 3 years, and it's his intention not to seek another term. Our current deputy treasurer, Scott Smith, is willing and able to be appointed as the treasurer for a 3-year term. Carl Baggy is interested in the position of deputy treasurer and would be willing to help in the training and transition. So it is our goal to switch. The Board of Selectmen has to appoint the treasurer, and then the deputy treasurer has to the treasurer has to appoint the deputy with the approval of the Board of Selectmen. If you'd allow me to introduce Scott Smith to you, and some of you I know I'm reintroducing him, to give you a little bit about his history and his connections to the town of Wolfeboro. You can come up and talk.
Hey, Scott.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I know a lot of you.
Yeah.
It's good to be here. Just about me briefly, I used to work for the town of Wolfeboro. I worked for you guys for about 10 years as your finance director. Been down in the city of Somersworth now for 18 plus. I've been their director of finance and administration. I'm currently their deputy city manager. So this is just an opportunity for me to participate in the town, and I can do this. I think I've got the capability, and then this I can kind of do on my own time, so I'm not really stuck to night meetings and things that might be difficult to attend. So I just look forward to helping out any way I can.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Good to have you back. All righty. On the back of the sheet that we have, there are 2 motions. Is anyone willing to make the first motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Scott Smith, a resident of Wolfeboro, to the position of appointed treasurer with a term to start January 1st, 2025 and end on December 31st, 2027, with training and transition to start immediately and be completed no later than January 31st, 2025.
Second.
I have a motion by Brad, a second by Brian. Are there any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, we have a second motion, and I'm assuming that Scott is okay with Carl Bragg's. So is there a member of the board who'd like to give the second motion?
Move to accept the recommendation of Scott Smith as appointed treasurer to appoint Carl Baggy to the position of deputy treasurer with a term to start January 1st, 2025 and end on December 31st, 2027, with training and transition to start immediately and be completed no later than January 31st, 2025.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. I have a motion by Brian, second by Paul. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now, we're going to circle back to the capital improvement plan for 2025.
You're up.
You're not on one agenda and you're on another, so we're a little...
Okay, my name is Kathy Barnard. I'm the chair of the CIP committee and member of the planning board. I'm here on behalf of the Capital Improvements Committee and the Planning Board to submit to you the approved 2025 to 2034 Capital Improvement Program. This 10-year plan is an advisory document developed by the CIP Committee to serve as a guide for the Board of Selectmen to use as you prepare the 2025 budget and look ahead to future projects. The plan was approved by the Planning Board last night at our meeting. No public was there since it was quite late, but anyway, but they did approve it, and so the committee that we worked with, CIP committee, worked diligently to develop the plan with the department heads, town manager, and the finance director. We all wanted to make certain the town continues to provide necessary services that we're all used to, as well as consider the impact on the taxpayer. The 14 projects the committee has reviewed for a proposed 2025 budget have all been recommended for approval and received either a number 1 urgent priority or a number 2, which means necessary to maintain quality services. All of the figures that I'm going to go through with you are the best estimate given by the town department heads and will be updated prior to the meeting with the Board of Selectmen. The first project is the library parking lot. That's a $160,000 project. It will come from the general fund. This was considered a priority because it addresses safety issues on the site and also addresses stormwater management. And so this was a priority 1. The next couple projects are from the electric department. First one, Melody in Kenniston Island. That's a reconstruction, $525,000 from the Electric Enterprise Fund, and that's for the reconstruction of the overhead electrical distribution system. The committee gave this a 2 rating, which means it is necessary in order to provide basic level and quality of community service. Next project also from the electric department, the Armory interior ceiling for $100,000 to be taken from the Electric Enterprise Fund. This is considered an urgent project and rated as number 1 due to the deteriorating condition of the building. Next project is from Parks and Recreation. It's the community center for $100,000 for conceptual design and space needs assessment. Funds would come from the Capital Reserve Fund. This is considered to be the next step for this project. And the project we're talking about is the electric building and senior center on Laner Street. That's the site we're talking about. The committee gave this a priority 2 assignment because they felt that it is necessary to obtain more information about this project. So this would be the way of doing that. Next project is the Libby Museum for $350,000 from the Capital Reserve account. This would provide more information and also remove the mold issue so that the Libby could reopen. This received a priority 5 from the CIP committee, which means that it is premature and needs more planning. 5 members voted in favor of that and 1 opposed. Next few projects are from Public Works. The first one is a vehicle replacement, HD7, 275 from the Capital Reserve Fund. This vehicle is at the end of its life, and so this received a 1 priority and urgent request. Vehicle replacement HD9, $100,000 from the capital reserve account. The vehicle is old, rusting, and has emission issues, so this was also considered urgent and a priority one. Next project is the town road upgrades for $900,000 from the general fund. This we also considered a number one priority, which was urgent and necessary. The South Main Street Complete Engineering Project from the general fund, $300,000, would be the final phase of this project from Pickering Corner to the bridge, and will also cover storm water management as well as complete street pavement. This we also felt was a priority one and was urgent and necessary. Next project is the sewer project, the South Main Street sewer construction, $4,700,000. This will follow the path from Pickering Corner to the Mill Street pump station. This project is being considered for state aid and state revolving funds. The system that exists now is very old and in poor shape, so the committee felt this was a priority one, an urgent and necessary request. 5 members voted in favor and 1 opposed. Next project, a small sewer pump station evaluation for $100,000 from the sewer fund and general fund. We have 9 pump stations, 7 of the smaller ones are in poor condition, and the risk of failure is real. So the committee voted that this was a high priority, 5 members in favor and 1 opposed. Next project, water and water department. It's a pressure relief valve and vault for South Main Street water tower. A new valve is needed so that it is accessible and serviceable. The $100,000 would come from the Water Enterprise Fund, and this is also an urgent request and should not be delayed. The next project, the water treatment upgrade for $100,000 from the Water Enterprise Fund. This is the yearly maintenance for the water treatment plant. A majority of the committee felt this could not be delayed, so 4 were in favor and 3 abstained. Last project is the River Street water main for $350,000. $200,000 would come from the general fund and $150,000 from the Water Enterprise Fund. This is considered considered a complete street project. The committee felt this was a priority 2, which means this is necessary and should take place in the next 3 years. The total of all these requests for 2025 are $8,160,000. In addition to the narrative that I've just gone through, there's also a spreadsheet prepared that gives you a very clear idea of the things that I've talked about. Looking ahead to 2026, this would just some of the things that it would include. It would include a $14,000 for the South Main Street utility line location. It would also include a new and used ambulance. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you, the utility line, that's at a cost of $4 million. And then there's also the project for the South Main Street project proposed by the state. That's the one that's for $4,000. The utility is for 1.4. Sorry about that. And there are other projects also in 2026. The out-year projects are 2027 to 2034. These are sort of placeholders, but projects that are being talked about. And so that includes $4 million for the community center. And remember, these are just ballpark figures. A rebuild of Varney, Bay Street, Forest, and other roads. $12 million for a wastewater treatment. $2 million for dockside retaining wall. And the Libby Museum at $4 million, and that would be in 2034. I just want to thank all of the members of the CIP committee, Linda Murray from the Board of Selectmen, and Brian is the alternate, Bob Lohman from the Budget Committee, Steve Webster from the Planning Board, Jim Pittman from the School District, and our 4 community members, Tim Cronin, Chuck Sumner, Suzanne Ryan, and Paul Whalen. I think that as well as all the help that we receive from the town manager, the department heads, and the finance director, as well as Leanne Hendrickson, who helped keep us on track. So thank you. If you have any questions, Casey and Jim are here, and they can answer them.
I'll just make one comment. I thought it was a well-run committee. We had made some changes to the form, which I think we liked, and we worked on our rating scale. And I thought that the committee really looked at the projects, moved some out because they needed to go out years, and I thought the process went well. Brian, what do you think?
I think that most of what was put in 2025 is necessary, most of it. I think that it was a swing and a miss on the used ambulance.
I think when we talked about that is nothing had been set yet, and that we as a Board of Selectmen can move that forward, and we talked about that and just didn't have the information on it to move forward because the committee's
I still would have been comfortable for it to be moved to 2025, especially when we have spent 14 weeks on an ad hoc ambulance committee, and we've been talking for 2 years about the need to maybe transition to a fire-based ambulance service. I would have liked to see the used ambulance in 2025.
Okay. Any other board members have any comments or concerns? Paul.
Kathy,
very
thanks
much.
again. You do a great job at this, and to all the other folks. But I did have a question. So the Libby got a score of a 5, saying premature, needs more work, whatever the right nomenclature is. Premature, needs more research, planning, and coordination. But it still shows up as a 2025 proposed capital project. Is that?
That's correct. It came in as that. They ranked it low because they had no material.
Yep.
They had no Turner report. They don't have all the information.
Yeah, so I'm just catching up. So it still is in there.
It's still in there, and for us to look at.
Got it. Thank you.
Anybody else, any comments or concerns? All righty, we'll move on. We've already done the Heritage Commission. Now we're going to do DRA Proclamation, National American Indian Heritage Month. And this is coming from the DAR. Board members, does anybody have any issue with this? If not, one of us, or I can read it into the record. Before I do that, I want to make sure everybody is comfortable with it. Anybody have any issue? Okay. The National Society, Daughter of the American Revolution, American Indian Committee Proclamation. The National American Indian Heritage Month. Whereas The history and the culture of our great nation has been significantly influenced by the American Indians and the indigenous people. And whereas the contribution of American Indians have enhanced the freedom, prosperity, and greatness of America today, and whereas their customs, their traditions are respectful and celebrated as part of a rich legacy throughout the United States, and whereas the Native American Awareness Week began in 1976 and recognition was expanded by Congress and approved by President George Bush in August 1990, assigning the month of November as National American Indian Heritage Month, and whereas in the honor of the National American Indian Heritage Month, community celebrations as well as numerous cultural, artistic, educational, and historic activities have been planned. Now, therefore, the Board of Selectmen, by virtue of the authority invested in us as Select Board of Wolfeboro, do hereby proclaim November as the National American Indian Heritage Month in Wolfeboro and urge all our citizens to observe this month with the appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. And then it is a place for witness. All right. And I guess we make a motion to accept that?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Brad, seconded by Brian. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. All righty. Next item is the public safety building update.
Okay, so I will try to give you a brief summary of where we're at with the public safety building project. I believe it was over the past 2 days, they've been putting the final pavement on the parking lot area of the building. As you can see by the report here, there's a couple of charts included here for you and some anticipated soft costs. To date, we have essentially accounted for expenses of all of our funds. We do anticipate the possibility of leveraging 2 existing capital reserve funds, which have a balance of $54,874. One of those is for the dispatch console and equipment, and the other is the public safety parking lot capital reserve fund. You also will see that there is a chart in the back that outlays a list of soft costs at this point, which I have from the fire department for $51,100. The police department has been working diligently to try and absorb some of these soft costs in their operating budgets. We are currently working through one item, which is the key fob access system to the building. Current estimate for that is $32,258. That's something that I've got to make a decision on here very shortly, as they'll be finalizing the doors and they have to have the wires run and the door strikes installed. Additionally, one of the good news items is we're continuing to fill out the paperwork for the Federal Emergency Management Grant for the amount of $102,156. That is for the generator and the upfitting of the Emergency Operations Center. We also have been tracking separately the interest received from New Hampshire PDIP, which is where we place our bond funds. And over the past 2 years of this project, with the bond proceeds, we have generated $227,115 in interest. These interest funds can be utilized to be applied toward the project, or they can be used to pay down the debt principal payment only. We are continuing to work through a $1 million grant with the federal government. That will be relative to Phase 3 of the project. Phase 3 of the project is the renovation of the existing administrative wing. So you have Exhibit 1 in here, which lays out all of the expenses year to date. At the bottom, you will see that year to date, we've expended $9,600,000. And we have a balance of $3.5 million to finish the project. It does show the capital reserve funds. So with all of those included, we have a balance of $52,000 to get this project across to completion. Exhibit 2, that is a Gantt chart that shows you the Phase 2 of the project. The top of the chart gives you the dates, and then down through it gives you the task orders for them to get through to completion. They anticipate completing Phase 2 around the second week in February. Phase 3, they anticipate mobilizing that first to second week in February. Anticipate it taking approximately 77 days to get to completion. So we're hopeful that around June 1st, the project will be completed. You will also see in the backup information some of the soft costs which have been provided to me by the fire chief for completion of the project. And again, the police department has been working through some of these items to be able to secure through their operating budget. The project has been going relatively smoothly. A few hiccups here and there. I would encourage you to schedule some time to take a tour of the facility. It's moving along nicely, and I think you'll find that it's going to be quite a facility when we're done. With that said, I can try to answer any questions you have. Hopefully this gives you the information you want about the project.
Yeah, I have a question. If we were able to use the debt to pay the principal of the bond, are we able to take that $1 million that comes in and pay off some of the principal of the bond?
That we do believe is correct. We believe that we can take that $1 million once it's received and apply it to the principal of the bond, or one of the two bonds, and it'll offset some of those expenses going forward.
And am I correct that one bond interest is lower than the other bond interest?
I don't recall right off the top of my head, but I do believe that is correct. They're all right in the lower to mid 3% for the bond.
Okay.
And one of them is a significantly higher amount. If I remember right, it was a 9 million, 6 million split or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. The other thing I would suggest is, as we get into warrant article season, one of the other soft costs that is going to be expensive, and I did note it in here, where they have now paved, we can actually get a better handle on the placement of a fence around the facility, the back of the facility. If you recall, the back of the facility was heavily vegetated. And when that was heavily vegetated, there was no light intrusion from the equipment and the apparatus leaving the site. Now, with all of that vegetation gone,
You got to do something.
there is light intrusion issues that we're going to have to look at resolving going forward. So with that paving done, that's something that we've been talking with the neighbors about intermittently about a fence, and we hope to be able to get that program going forward.
Should all the soft costs be paid from that $1 million grant if we get the grant?
I would hope that we would be able to absorb most of the soft costs in the interest that we've accumulated
Yes.
from the PDEP.
That's
I
fine.
really am hopeful.
Okay, so the
Brian, I
interest
think
will-
Paul had asked me, so if Paul can go, and then I'll call you. Paul?
Yep, Jim, so the soft cost as a percentage of how much you've spent, it's less than 1%. It's 0.6%, which is de minimis, right? Now, where's the change orders? Is that another discussion?
The change orders are included in this.
They're in
this.
It's, okay, good. Then the second question has to do with, are you, what's in the way of getting a decision from yourself? You said you're pondering this, the key fob thing. What's in the way of actually doing that?
The funding. So we've got $52,000 left to work with. The key fob system is $32,000. If all of a sudden we start going into phase 3 and we run into a couple of issues, there are concerns.
So not to, that it's your call, but a secure building or public safety assets or something else?
It would be secured. It's just, it records who goes where,
Yeah.
when, and
Right.
all of those items. So
I think we learned a
it's
lesson
important.
someplace else in town about wanting to know who gets in, right? Anyway,
Correct.
that's on you, but it seems to me that that's probably high up, and the other things have to step aside potentially.
I would
That'd be
agree.
my advice to you.
I would agree.
Okay?
Brian?
So could the company put in the wiring for it and leave out the final? Would they do that in automobile manufacturing all the time? Most automobiles have all the wiring and all the pieces in, and it's just plug and play for accessories, and you save money that way.
Sure. So they would all be wired for the electronic door strikes. They're all that way now. It's just a matter of the storefront and the administrative wing. But I do anticipate this being a due item.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay. Next item is the Route 28 matrix. I drafted this, and there are the items that I thought we might want to look at, and I wanted to give it to the board to look at and to let me know if there's any other categories. Obviously, these didn't print. It'll be in a regular grid, but I really wanted to make sure that we had everything that members of the board would like to have in the matrix. So, does anybody have? I'm sure you spent a lot of time, all of you, looking at this. So, is there anything you would like to have added?
The only thing that I have is, for some of these projects, like enhanced striping, that's not defined that it has to be exactly this way. They can shorten the enhanced striping lanes if we request them to.
These will be based on the drawings that they have provided, okay? So that's what we're going to get. This is what the DOT recommendation is, and we're going to be taking a matrix to that, okay?
But I still think that their recommendations are malleable. They said that to us, standing right
Brian,
here. That
I'm not arguing with
any
you.
of the recommendations that they give us could be changed with our recommendations.
I think what I'm trying to do here is to get the information, to get some kind of consistency. When I went back and looked, in 2010, we did about 100,000 and did all these meetings. And we finished the report in 2018. COVID came. We started back with New Hampshire DOT, and the public didn't have all the information. This is a way, and whether we decide to have the enhanced changed or not, I'm trying to get an intersection and the information. And if we decide as a board that we want to change it, we can change that column. But I'm trying to get us as a board to get the information in some kind of form so the public can understand what the pluses and minuses are for the different intersections. So the traffic light is going to wipe out, by the way, what they've given us, the most number of parking spaces, goes down right in front of Carpenter School. People should know that. And the only way is to have the drawing from that the New Hampshire DOT gives us, and then having it down here so we give it to the public in two different ways. That's what my goal here. If you don't want to do this or you want to do something else, I'm fine. Paul.
Yeah, so I was in this movie. And so we've established, this is maybe for others' benefits, we've established these topical titles: enhanced striping, compact roundabout. Those are established, and so you can draw a line from those words back into the New Hampshire DOT documents, and you can find those words and you can see what has been described. I think it's appropriate and proper to reference those so that people can go back and see those. Now, having said that, once this is all done, and I don't know what the process is, whether people are going to raise their hand or, yellow, green, buttons on the wall, whatever we do, then there may be an opportunity to say, could we change the length or the width or whatever? But I'm kind of where Linda is. I want to draw a line back to what was already published on a website and all the documents that talk about enhanced striping. So everybody starts on a common base. And by the way, I like because that's what was in the first.
Just about. The only other one I might put in is that we have the Pickering House and the.
Yeah, we're not moving the.
Those would be other businesses that weren't there.
So these were kind of in what was done
kind of,
a handful of
yes,
years ago,
yes.
right? So I'm kind of okay with this. I think this is the right thing to do. Now, again, if people want to say, I want to have a different kind of a traffic light or flashing beacons, that's all possible. But I want to get people to know that there was work done. These are the words that were used. Whatever you want to do, if you want to change it, let's change it after you decide where you're leaning towards.
Right. And I've asked the Public Works Director is going to fill in
the blanks.
and to have big boards up on the wall.
Yeah.
And that we leave them up on the wall so somebody can come in and say, oh,
kind of like what
it is.
His predecessor did when they had those.
Yes.
What do you call them?
Context-sensitive solution meetings. And it's just a way, because one of the things I heard is that people are confused. They don't really know.
Right.
And it's a way for us as a board, and that when this gets filled out on the 22nd of October, we'll have that in front of us. We may want to change wording. We may want to do... I didn't see us trying to fill all these blanks. I thought we'd get them, and then for us to proof it, change.
So to Brian's point, if there may be a conversation at some point that says, hey, this traffic light thing, we really like the idea of having that red, green, yellow thing, but we don't like the idea of eliminating all these parking spaces. Is there something else we can do? I think that's a part two conversation. But I kind of like getting back to where we started and going.
So
Brad wants to say, and then I'll come back to you, Brian.
Yeah, looking through this on the Route 28, the corridor layout sheet
Yep.
for the sidewalk, trees, electric poles. Under sidewalks and stuff, I was just wondering if we wanted to detail it out a little bit more, to add on the east or west side of Route 28, so we know which side we're talking about.
Okay, east or
Because we have sidewalks on both sides on part
Okay.
of it, and only one side from basically the library north, south right now. And the way the plan is there now, the only new additional sidewalk that they've proposed right now on the plans is on the west side of the corridor from the library to Old Mill Drive. So I didn't know, looking at the breakouts that we have listed here right now, if we wanted to either readjust because we have one from the Kingswood Golf Club to the library,
But we're also dealing with sidewalk, trees, bike lanes.
Yep.
It's the whole thing, and
But-
I just kind of, and I took it from Barry's, because he gave us a picture to a certain spot, and then I went to the next picture of the Barry, and I was talking to Steve today, from this place to this place, this is how the corridor is going to look. We're going to have sidewalks, we'll have grass, we'll have bike lanes, we'll have travel lanes. Then we go from here to there, the corridor will be stuff only on the hospital side.
Right.
But if you want to, why don't you put them in other wording and give them to me, and I
Okay.
can do that. That'll
Yep.
probably be easy.
Yep.
That's how I got
Yeah.
those, was from his,
Barry's
because that had
breakout.
impacts on trees.
Yep.
So, but I'm
makes
more than
sense.
willing to add any other wording.
Adjust them and stuff,
Yep.
okay.
Okay, no problem. Brian?
So what I'm looking at is sometimes data becomes cloud data. It doesn't give a true picture. Some of the information from the DOT might not necessarily be correct information too. I don't believe everything that's told to me, and I only believe half of what I read, none of what I see on the internet. So if you look at an example, Pickering Corner, Route 28, 109, and you look at the maintain existing layout, parking spaces lost. Great, we're not losing any. No impact on gas stations, no impact on the schools, no impact on DeWitt Field, no impact on the monuments, vehicle traffic. State said that it doesn't matter what project we do, we're not helping the traffic during the busy times. So this is the same as all the rest of them. Pedestrian safety, they say dangerous as can be. Our own police department has said that at that corner that they have not in years seen any really unsafe situations with pedestrians hit or heavy car accidents. Trees aren't involved, poles aren't involved, sidewalks are already there, town costs are the lowest, and aesthetic lighting, that you can put aesthetic lighting for all of them. So that then says that maintaining the existing layout is the best and only plan. Sometimes data doesn't work.
Well, I think we can give a try on this. In some of the places you can say, none. It isn't going to change. And then people know that is not going to change. Right. I think the public was saying to us, we're confused. We don't know what it is. Right. We're just trying to give them some kind of information, and whether you like the data or not, it's just one way. And I found the matrix that we did last time informative. And I'm more than making it a concrete, this is the way it's going to be. It's going to be informative to the public, and so they can see it. That's my goal. And if that's not a goal that the majority of the board members want, that's fine. But I was trying to answer that.
I think if the board does this, and maybe we should, because it will help some people, we can't pitch this as, this is the Bible, this is the best, this is all the answers, this is all you need to know, this is the way it's going to go. If we do that, we're doing a disservice because the data doesn't make sense in some places.
Paul?
Off topic, but relevant. Did we settle this whole mid-block crossing and the beacons and all? Is that all settled?
No, I mean, we're back to just looking at how it may lay out. We haven't come to what kind of beacons. There is an addition, I think, of a crosswalk.
And did we settle whether we're going to do a diagonal crossing or straight across crossing or change the speed limit off over by the golf course? Did we? 'Cause I know the cut and cover tunnel thing was thought about. That was it.
The speed limit was moved to 35.
Okay. So I agree that we should do this. We shouldn't manage by who yelled the loudest last. We shouldn't do that. A lot of work has gone into this, and I agree with Brian. This is data. People have to process it and turn it into information. But in the absence of having the data, they'll listen to who yelled the loudest last. And so I think we have an obligation to do it. And I like the format. And that's kind of all I have to say.
Dave, do you have any comments? So it'll be the 22nd. Steve will have filled out a bunch of it, and we can then reword, change, disagree about, what?
Does our beloved Barry need to weigh in on this thing?
Barry, we have Barry's, all right, his presentation to us. Barry is not going to be here on the 22nd, but he was going to send one of his people. I thought he gave us a pretty big presentation of what, and we don't even know if the DOT will accept that. Okay. Does anybody have any other business? Town manager's report.
First things I'd like to go over is, in front of you, you have a resolution. This resolution is relative to the PSI Plastics Northern Borders Regional Commission grant. If you remember, about a year and a half ago, Brian came in front of us with the EDC to support a grant application for PSI Plastics to install upgraded infrastructure so that they could put a new transformer to the front of their building to be able to expand their presses and be able to have greater capacity for output. The grant writer is working through the grant process. The pre-application is complete. We're into the application process. PSI continues to be dedicated to this project, and you need to give me authorization to sign this resolution. And right now where we're at is we are applying for a grant, which would be, the grant award would be $117,849.82 for the Wolfeboro electrical infrastructure upgrades through the Northern Borders Region Commission. So if somebody would be kind enough to make a motion to authorize me to sign this grant document, this would allow them to continue moving forward. And this, we just received it this week. It's actually due on Friday afternoon.
So I'll make the motion to do that, and I wanted to just make a statement first that there was some concern by some citizens in town after the issue that Merrimack, New Hampshire had with their contamination of wells and other things from a plastic manufacturer. And we did ask PSI if they use PFAS in their production, and they said they do not, and that they have a very strict regiment and plan in place to make sure that they are environmentally friendly with their processes.
And they sent us a letter to that extent. Yep.
That's good to put it on the record.
And so I would make the motion to have the town manager sign the grant in the amount of $117,849.82 from the Northern Bordering Funding to support the upgrade of the electrical system for PSI Plastics.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a second, a motion by Brian, a second by Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Okay.
Okay, thank you. A couple other items in my report to you. If you weren't aware, and I think most of the board is aware at this point, the Libby Museum on October 9th of this year, the Libby Museum was named to the New Hampshire Preservation Alliance 7 to Save. Criteria for selection of that is historical significance, imminence of a threat of the building, and potential impact of listing the building on the register to save the building. With that said, don't know what that's going to mean going forward. I would suggest that we consider probably having a Board of Trustees meeting on November the 6th to cover some items relative to the Libby Museum. Additionally, the H.L. Turner report, they will be on site Friday conducting the structural assessment of the building. Pop Whalen, a little bit of an update there regarding the mold remediation. Retesting occurred on Friday the 11th. We're waiting the response to that. Hopefully, we'll be receiving that tomorrow. The remediation was complete, and hopefully it comes back with a positive report. I did meet with the athletic director regarding the equipment and the remediation that's taking place there. I have signed a purchase order to install the camera system in the hallways of the building, and I also met with a contractor on site last week regarding the installation of a key fob system and changing out the master keys. It does appear that we have 23 master keys, and we have 8 of them that are currently unaccounted for. We have had staff training on the HVAC system on the building. That took place as well last Friday, so that buttons up the Pop Whalen information. Planning department, we continue to be challenged to find applicants for the planning position. I have met with a couple contractors who have expressed some frustration about delays. I will continue to meet with those, and it really boils down to the department currently being understaffed. Saturday, I will be walking the Abenaki bike trails. They've already been flagged with the red and green flagging. I will be walking it. I will be using an app to map it and taking some photographs. Also, just to button up, there's been some concern about the South Main water line project. They did some pressure testing this evening. I don't know how that made out. But the biggest concern that I've heard is, will we be cleaned up in time to be able to have the annual Christmas tree in? It is my understanding that November 15th, they have to be off the road, and Dawson's has assured me that they will be off the roadway in time for the installation of the annual Christmas tree. That is all I have for you.
Linda, can I ask a couple of questions?
Yes, you may.
Jim, Friday, what time will Turner be at the Libby Museum?
Don't know. I can find out if you would like.
Yep, and is Saturday the walk or Sunday the walk with the contractor for the Abenaki Trails?
Saturday.
Do you know what time that is?
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
We will be meeting at the Filter Bed Road fence.
Filter Bed Road.
Is that it?
For right now.
Okay. I'll start down here with Dave.
The only thing I have is budgets.
Okay.
That's enough.
Brad?
Yeah, last night we had a planning board meeting, had a forum with 2 topics. The short-term rental and multifamily is thought it was very well attended. Lot of input from the public on that. Had a Wolfeboro Waters meeting, I believe, at the beginning of last week or the end of the week before, somewhere in that range. I lost track of that. I attended the Chamber Board of Directors meeting. I was invited to kind of talk to the board about some of the short-term rental and multifamily discussions that were coming up. And we had a Wolfeboro Community TV meeting this morning. That was it for me.
Okay, I had a Wolfeboro Waters Committee meeting, and they're starting to look at plots of land where we might be able to put in a retention basin, which we can collect a volume of water and therefore slow down the velocity coming down a hill. It's just another way to look at how could we possibly control some stormwater runoff. Last night, Wolfeboro is meeting every 2 weeks, and it's in the midst of fundraising. I went to an EDC meeting, and I'll let Brian fill in about the EDC meeting. I attended the planning board meeting on short-term rentals. I attended the Wolfeboro Waters Subcommittee that does all the water sampling, and they were setting their goals for next year. I attended the library trustees meeting today, and I want to read an invitation. Please join the library staff and the friends of the Wolfeboro Library in saying farewell to Jeannie Snowden. Friday, October 18th from 10 to 11:30 a.m. in the Bradley Room. Light refreshments will be served. So anybody who'd like to say goodbye to Jeannie, are welcome to attend that, and I've given an invitation to all the members of the board from the trustees. I was at the Chamber Executive Board meeting, and that is all I have. Paul?
Thank you. Budget committee meetings, or budget meetings, not budget committee meetings with us. Those are wonderful. Several ambulance ad hoc committee meetings. I've sat in on union discussions with both the AFSCME as well as with the police department. Sat in on those. I keep in touch with Tom Goodwin, who's has an interest in the Libby. So Tom and I have coffee every now and again, and I had coffee with him. We had a very nice introductory session. Jim mentioned that the Libby had been nominated and recognized as by the Preservation Society. So Linda, myself, and Jim had a introductory session with Maggie Steer this morning. It was pleasant. Jim mentioned Turner's going to be out at the Libby on Friday. They're going up into the rafters, and they're going down underneath the building. And I as well attended the Planning Board's public hearing last night on short-term rentals and multifamily dwellings. Well attended, well mannered. I think people had some good input for them, and I think they heard it. So that's all I have. Thank you.
So the other question I had for Jim was, I talked to someone at the rink when I was there for the ad hoc ambulance committee, and he was still unsure how the bathroom vents, the fans in the bathroom vents work in that facility. There's one PVC pipe that comes out the back of the building, and I believe it connects to all 4 bathrooms, one bathroom between each set of locker rooms. And I think it goes on only automatically when someone enters the bathroom facility. And I was asking him if he was told during his meetings and training and instructions, was there any way to operate those manually, override the system so that you could create a nice ventilation during hot and humid months or something to that effect? And he said he wasn't instructed about any of that. So it might be something that we have them look at to see if there's a way, because you can use bathroom fans. It's done all the time as a ventilation for the complete. It would ventilate all of those complete locker rooms and bathrooms during hot and humid summer months. I had we had the BOS budget meeting. Then Tuesday was the EDC, and we talked about the short-term rentals and housing and all the subjects that happened at the planning meeting, and a lot of different opinions, just like there was at that meet. We talked about last night in Wolfeboro, and Linda's got that rolling. She's great with that. So we're gonna have a fantastic last night again. We talked about our budget, and they're a thrifty group. There's some extra money in the budget that they're going to be able to do some good things with at the end of the year. And our business event that we usually have for the businesses in town is usually in November, and it looks like we're going to be pushing it to February so that it'll be in a time when the businesses aren't as busy and more can attend. So on Tuesday, I had that EDC. I had a meeting with a gentleman up on Ambrose Way. Paul and I met our new finance director in town. Then we had an ad hoc ambulance meeting together. We also had a subcommittee for the ad hoc ambulance together to discuss the project. And is there anything else? I think that might be it. Yeah. And and that's it.
That's it. Okay, is there any questions from the press?
She
Yes,
is lighting up. Yep.
What is the name of your new finance director?
Can anybody hear her?
Oh, can you hear me now?
Louder.
What is the name of your new finance director? Oh, boy.
It's Samantha. Yep. Samantha?
I don't think we can Google that one.
Just a second. I'm horrible with names, so Samantha Kelly.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Nickname is Sam.
And is she on the job yet? I mean, she's,
She started
Reporting?
on our Tuesday.
okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anybody in the public who'd like to give us public input? I do have a letter here from Jane Walsh, and it's to the Board of Selectmen, and she's asking that I read it as public input. I am writing to request and reinforce that the Wolfeboro Board place the Pickering Corner roundabout on the warrant article ballot to be voted upon by the citizens of Wolfeboro. There are too many issues concerning this proposal which will directly affect the taxpayers without hearing their voice on a written ballot. That would be the fairest way. Please read this request into the minutes of your meeting as a public comment. Thank you, Jane Walsh. Okay. No other public comments? Then I need a motion to go into non-public.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Brian and Paul, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you.